all our Rise Studio members, babukeli bethu ekhaya nama co-hosts ami amahle. Kunzima kakhulu ukuba nobudlelwane that is meaningful and healthy without good communication. So whether it's within a family, a friendship, or with your lover. Namhlanje ebusuku sizobe sikhuluma about good communication in relationships and how to communicate when it comes to sex. Ladies, ninjani? So, ngicabanga ukuthi the way by which we were raised basically affects our communication today. Ngesikhathi ngikhula mina ekhaya kwagcizelelwa kakhulu indaba yokuthi kumele ngihloniphe njengomntwana. And so that affected the way by which I interacted with a lot of older people and with my friends as well. So I battled kakhulukazi to speak about my emotions and how I was feeling, and I used to bottle it up kakhulu, and then it would just explode. And that's basically how I've had to overcome in order to be able to communicate namhlanje.
You know, Nantonina growing up, this thing out batsadi banana re tantse habarin sky etsa jalo ha tlo mamela tantse a manye a gase ningo shapa mama shapela ho bane wa rata, you know. I noticed it much later. I was with this other guy and that's when I realized it's that thing all the time, and it's actually nonsense.
Yeah, I had a different experience too, and I see number being shy kaya bo being shy being shouting yes. But what that meant for me, Uguti, when I got into my relationships later on, I couldn't communicate, guys. Being kala and being lala, being katel, being zuzangati, yazin, I can't actually do this anymore. And that's why I was in an abusive relationship. Different, and I couldn't actually get out of that relationship because I couldn't communicate properly.
Mina into engidinayo umuntu ozongitshela ukuthi ngenzeni and engidina kakhulu angitshela into engiyaziyo, you understand. So umuntu kokwambe yathanda ukungitshela into engiyaziyo, you understand. So belile ukuthi sigcine sesilwa like sichangeisana ngamazwi kube into enkulu hayi into encane. So le ingaffecte ngendlela ukuthi noma sengiphumile ekhaya esikolweni ngilana wonke umuntu into encane nje ngiyakushaya ngiyakuganora abo. So esikolweni bese bangibiza ngebullfighter. So yo yazini like bengidineka guys.
Alright, ngiyayizwa ukuthi le ndaba le ngathi sizojula owangempela. So just before ijula owangempela ake sibheke le ndaba le yantombi.
Yazi relationship yami nomuntu wami yasafara nje ayikho shaka. Kuba ngathi vele ngiphethe ubuye sele. Mele ngizwe ngayo yonke into ayishoyo ngiyabona ngizwe yona. So that's why mina ngisaba mina ngivele ngizithulele.
Thane mina ngithi kuwe last time egroupini yethu le divine ngafika guys azinenkinga mina nomuntu wamsiyala yena ufuna right true ngizwe naye makathi jump yabo like bathe hlala nomuntu wakho phansi umtshela ukuthi lokuna kuyangijabulisa lokuna akungijabulisa and ngakwenza beyifana nawo nomsamo nkulu ngicabanga ukuthi mara but lafiki la sihlezi sithu ngathi ngamtshela ngathi kunento engichaza kwaqala lapho ke kwaba na this thing good communication.
So manje intombi ngitshela umuntu la ngithanda athi yena uzoya ngaphandle yenza into ithanayo. So lapho i-trust ikhona.
I-trust ayikho. Umuntu mina like mangabe akuna sengibona ngahle ukuthi communication ayikho ngiyamtshela ngathi so lahle direction then lapho kuyakhonakala ukuthi kube ne-trust because mangabe like asikhulumi asenzileki sho ukuthi ngalo-sex
nayo intombi usho ukuthi kube mnandi kanjani
uma ukhuluma nomuntu wakho ukhuluma naye before and after sex. Uyangithola mina umuntu angamtshela ugrafness anjani ngithanda like kube like mangihleli nomuntu wami ngifila like ngathi ubrother wami was-2 ngithola ngoba sixoxa ngayo yonke into. So mina ngicabanga ukuthi umuntu wakho ngixoxe kahle nomuntu wakho and nakungana communication akungeke kube nokuthembana nothando nje angeke.
But someone told it's not just about communication, but also how we communicate is important. And in my personal experience, I don't think I know how good communication looks like. But what do you guys think good communication in a relationship, in a romantic relationship should look like?
Yes, it looks like trust.
Okay.
It's honesty and that sense of sincerity that you share with the person that you have the relationship with, regardless of whether it's a friendship or it's a romantic relationship. It took me a long time to get to the point where I could trust someone, especially in the space in which I was bottling up so many emotions. So I would constantly have these explosions when I've bottled up way too much of izindekade zenzeka phakathi kwethu. But I had patient friends, and when they finally made me realize ukuthi kahle kahle kwenzakalani and the problem that I'm having with regards to communicating with other people, I was then able to become a much better communicator than I was before.
I wish I had your friends, hey? Manje into engifundile ne ukuthi umuntu maseka phezulu kunami ngiyakwazi ukumela akhulume azaqede masaqedile ngimdedela ne and then maseka phansi so right khana ngiza sengikhuluma la sengitshe ukuthi hayi into so angithandanga or ngifuna share into yeah.
Okay, so this show is for us, young women. So what do you guys think makes it difficult for us to communicate about sex in the relationship?
But what kind of question is that? Ngoba njengamantombazane, we told that we can't talk about sex, we can't talk about masturbation, we can't talk about what we desire. Mangantshela manje or ngitshela abantu ukuthi yazini me I like to have sex this way. Bazongibheka kabi. Ngathi and they call me names as well. So I find it so confusing when people ask us this question and they don't understand that it's them, who started this whole thing that we can't communicate about uglalana.
Our studio audience, what do you find difficult to speak about openly in your relationship? Or young lady said family issues. Then he's going to use this against you, which I think is very true. And then communicating that I don't enjoy sex and intimate moments with him. That's actually very important and scary. And then the other one, he must stay away from my phone. Dr. Kgosi Jiani, relationships, good sex, communication.
How do we communicate about sex in a positive way?
The worst thing you want to do when you want to communicate about sex is to communicate when you are unhappy and frustrated.
Welcome back. Sonke sinemibuzo ukuba singaba nocansi olumnandi kanjani, as well as how to have wholesome and healthy relationships with our partners. Here to help us with that is Dr. Kgosi Jiani, a transpersonal and clinical psychologist. Let's find out more. Sawubona, Dr. Njani.
Ngiyaphila njani?
Ngikhona. So in our previous segment, besikhuluma nge-communication esifunde ekhaya. Can we talk about the forms of communication that exist?
Kaningi we take for granted ukuthi as human beings it's in our nature ukuthi siyakhuluma singabantu, it's a defining factor yokuba umuntu ukukhuluma. Communication is a package of things that must come together. The body, the nonverbal, the facial expression, the energy that you say. If you say, oh, I'm very happy.
Yeah.
It's missing something. Yeah, exactly. So we can pick up not just what people say, but what they don't say as well.
How do we know that if we have good communication skills or if we have bad communication skills?
I think the important thing about communication is it's the effect that it has good relationship and the person. Good communication is not about getting your way. That we must be clear about. It's not about the fact that because that's not necessarily good communication. But it's about, do we understand one another and how does it enhance a relationship now? Because our relationship is about you and I understanding each other. That's the essence of good communication.
So umuntu obheke manje kwishow yethu abona ukuthi hayi angikhulumi kahle angikwazi ukucommunicate kahle, ama skill anjani angaba awaphathe so that they can communicate better in the future?
I think the first thing ukuthi you can't change what you don't see. So you need to realize ukuthi something is not working. Kaningi sifuna ku understandwa more than to understand the other person. So one of the things is to strive to understand. So if so too, we are working towards that, then it means my intention is to understand you, your intention is to understand me.
Yeah.
Then that way we build bridges where we can find each other in a better way.
If ngijola nomuntu or ngiba nomuntu wami, how do we communicate about sex in a positive way? Yabo ukuthi ngiyazi ukuthi yakhe ngitshela ukuthi manginenkinga ngamtshela naye menenkinga angitshela.
The worst thing you want to do when you want to communicate about sex is to communicate when you are unhappy and frustrated.
Okay.
No? So the best way is to communicate upfront, to communicate your needs, to communicate your desires, and to communicate what does not work for you. Although we are naturally sexual beings, we do not have the same preferences as fine as ngabantu.
Yeah.
You know, what works for one person may not work for another.
As a young woman living with HIV, how do I communicate to ipartner yami about sex and even in our relationship ukuthi siyazi ukuthi we must be safe, zonke lezi zinto.
You know, one of the things we need to know, and especially if you're HIV positive, and it's just part of those perhaps uncomfortable discussions that you need to have in the relationship, because it is worse not to do it. Yeah, so you'd rather go through the discomfort of having it and having it right. And the best place to come from when you talk about it is to come from a position of caring. It's about self-care, and it's about, if ngithi ngiyamthanda lo muntu, I need to love them enough to care for their health and well-being. It's going to be an uncomfortable conversation, but it's one that we need to have.
I completely agree with that. I've been through many situations like that, and I wish I had your advice then. But now I know better, I think.
Yeah.
So we took some questions from our audience, from our Rise Young Women, and there's 2 questions that they have to ask. So the first one is, how do you confront a cheating boyfriend? We've all had those too.
Woo, yeah. Okay, so I think one of the things is that we need, from the outset, to have a conversation about who are we to each other. Are we doing wam nam ngowakho kuphela? Or if that's not the case, then you need to be honest enough and loving and caring enough. Again, you've got to come from, if I care enough about this person, I need to be honest with them. So when you do discover that what you said is this, but I'm discovering that you're doing something else, can we talk about this discrepancy? Ngoba manje, it seems like, has the game changed? Because mina now, when we got into this, this is what we said to each other. So therefore, be honest with me so that I then make an informed choice about whether I do want to continue with this relationship or not. But don't tell me one thing when you're doing something else.
Yeah. So our second question is, how do you tell your parents that you are dating when they will scold you for liking boys too much?
We need to understand good, our parents, they are older, they've been here, they know why, and it is in the nature of abazali to act in your best interest. So when you are in that situation, you need to talk to your parents. And I think it's important, again, when you spoke about communication.
Yeah.
Nokuthi, that's part of what needs to happen in a family, even before you actually now show up with this dude. You know?
Surprise.
Yeah, no, it can't be. You know, it needs to be a conversation that happens. Guti, when do you think it's the best time to start being in relationships? And I think part of the challenge of being young is to think everything has to happen. And if it hasn't happened, there's something wrong with me. I pay land. Abaphela bafana, awuphela umjolo, I pay. So don't act like if mina nginga, then cha. Just take it easy. Take it easy and make sure Gucci, you've got your priorities right. Because the problem is when you're young and then you get all mixed up and unfortunately women forsake all for the sake of a boy. Yeah? So it is important to always have your priorities right.
Thank you so much for that informative discussion. Hopefully I can go back home and be a better communicator.
Thank you.
Masibuye sizoza ukuthi sinani kwi-toolbox yethu. See you after the break.
Kinamukele futhi. Impendulo yethu multiple choice question. It's A. There are 3 types of communication, which is written, verbal, and body. Kunjani sisihlebo?
Ngiyaphila njani wena sisi?
Ngiyaphila. I-Rise audience ethu nemibuzo nje ifuna ukuyithinta.
Okay.
Okay, who's the first to go? Okay, ungabuza.
Dumelang.
Hello.
Nna ka lebitso ke Nabitumelo ke tswa ko Tsokotsa. Nna ke kopa ho botsa hore like nako yeso ke na le bothata ba hore whenever ke batla ho bua le mmoa ka such problems regarding the relationship or ke tlamehile ke eme hanyane ke reach 21 first and then ke tla di bua. Then if ke botsa nkgono wa ka lena o ntshutsa ntse nkgono wa ka ntshutsa kana, and then if ke etsa mistake e nyane ba nkwalla ka ntle la nka fitla after 1 minute fela ba nkisa toilet. Thank you.
Wow. Let me just say this to you. You are not alone. Ne? So many of us, we parent children from a point of fear. Ne? So hangwana fela atla anale a question because we are so afraid. Or maybe, you know, they'll fall pregnant, maybe they are up to something wrong. Our reaction comes from a position of fear. Ne? And that fear comes from our own beliefs about what we believe. And it's very difficult to accept and admit that they are growing up. Ne? So what we need to do in our homes as parents, and I hope all other parents are listening to this, is communication is so important between children, even before the relationship. And there is, you know, there is nothing as usale munyane or usale whatever. How rayangwana umrare wait until you are 21? What you are trying to say is to say, what you are asking me now is not important. Or, I don't want to talk to you about boys. And then what happens? Wana watwa, wilo buta friendly, wilo bala magazine, wilo kena social media, and often hear and see things that wena ule motwadi you wouldn't have wanted them to know. You cut that communication. But it's also important, halili bacha, you must also understand where parents are coming from. Yeah. That's why I started saying, it's not that they don't want to talk to you, okay? I'm not saying the way they are reacting to you is right, but they are also coming from a position of fear. Who are you? Why amboza? Say, I told a boyfriend. And maybe your mother knows her own experience with boys in a illusion. So, I wish parents and kids, particularly kids of parents of teenagers, could basically learn how to communicate. And it's sad and it's a pity. Because as you grow up, you want to hear from your mother. You want to hear from the adult in your home. You've got questions, you've got concerns.
Why do us, like girls, tend to want to please men when having sex than us getting pleased? I think this thing is a two-way thing, but why do you want to please them?
It relates to the fact that 2 things about how we were brought up. One is the fact that we never want to accept that women have sexual feelings, that a woman can want sex. It comes to the messages that we even get in our own religion. If you are a nice girl, a disciplined girl, you can never say I'm horny or I want to have sex. You can never, unless if you want to burn in hell. Do you understand what I'm saying? And men being taught over and over again that you are the giant, you are the lion, you must go out there and get it. We are also taught as we grow up, it's so important to keep a man. So often, and that is where the problem comes in, is that you get into this relationship. Firstly, you never ask yourself, for what do I want in this relationship? You are just so grateful that a boy asked you out. And we are all taught these messages, or most of us, in our homes, and then we start pressurizing each other. So how naldi chomedi naldi boyfriend, you know, you're just like, okay, get la dumela tlaran tlope just because lenna khotwe ke na le motho. Wa utlwisa ntona letso. And whatever Clary says to you, you are just going to accept because you know you want to keep a man. And in this age of HIV, guys, it's so important to communicate about sex. We accept that it's difficult. We accept, even for people like myself, that it is not the easiest of things. You know, I'd rather speak to a stone rather than speak to another human being about sex. That's how hard it is. So you need to acknowledge that it's a difficult conversation. Okay?
Sister, any last reflection you show today?
I think we often take it for granted, the value of communication in our lives, in our relationships. I've never seen in my own home people communicating about feelings in a good way. It was shout and all of that. And therefore it makes it very difficult for me to communicate about feelings, you know? So we need in our relationships, whether it's with parents, whether it's amongst our friends, and especially in our relationships, we need to communicate and not assume, but also state how we feel, but have the confidence to do so. So we must learn how to communicate.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu hlala uyithinta emanonini. Guys. Yeah. Mina ngathi ngithande le akhulume ngayo kuma relationship kakhulu. Ukuthi sometimes you need to understand I relationship okuyona. If it's okay siyaphana la. Nika or hi baby, hi yazi so sharp, you know. I like that part.
Yeah, nanto or that I began to understand more from this episode ki how the way Ruhudisitsongateng translates into all our other relationships, friendships, romantic and stuff like that. Haksa khonu bua le mme wa ka kapa le ntate wa ka kapa le auntie kapa le mang ka normal things. How am I supposed to be able to speak about sex with a guy? It just doesn't even make sense. Yeah.
And I think okunye futhi kumele singakhohlwa ukuthi again, as Ukhosi had said earlier, sex is a part of the relationship. My vagina and my sexual desires are a part of my body and they don't define my entire being. But I am a sexual being. So, in places in which sex is secrecy or it's a taboo, it's killing us. It's killing us. So we need to get to a place in which we can express ourselves so we can own it.
Yeah, we do. We really need to. Ningasabi uhlangana nathi next week for yet another episode on Rise. Nisithinta on Rise Talk Show, Facebook page, and Mix It Rich.
Woof, woof.